Happy Monday, everyone. So happy to be here with a wonderful real estate attorney today who gave me some crazy information this morning. Well, not crazy, just interesting information about something called gap coverage, which I did not know much about. So, hey, Anastasia.
Hi, Heather. Happy Monday, everyone. Great to be here with one of my favorite partners in real estate.
Oh,
Uh, my name is Anastasia Papadopoulos. I'm a residential real estate attorney with Silva Law, QuickSilva. We are out of Waltham and Somerville and close all over Massachusetts. And as Heather said, right now, as everyone knows, we're navigating a new norm during COVID-19, personally, professionally. But the great thing is that my firm has all the necessary resources to be able to help you and your buyers, sellers, realtors, lenders, and provide this information so that you can have a peace of mind, guidance, and also the knowledge that you need, given the new ways that we have to work right now, just to make sure that everybody gets to the closing table and gets into their new home.
that sounds great. And we appreciate all the hard work that you're doing and everyone at QuickSilva. One thing I was really curious about that you mentioned earlier was the gap coverage. Can you explain that? And I know that came up today because of I heard some technical difficulties somewhere.
Yes. Yes. So today, several registry of deeds across Massachusetts had to close because of some technical difficulties with electronic recording. As we all know, most of the registries across Massachusetts are not allowing any in-person recordings, with the exception of some properties that are in registered land. They're taking either drop-offs or overnight mail, as those cannot be electronically recorded. But in situations like today where there's technical difficulties and we can't actually, closing attorneys and settlement agents can't go and physically deliver these documents, there's something called gap coverage. And this can be enforced in a situation like today when electronic recording is not available. And what it does is it covers the gap between the date that the documents were signed or that the closing occurred and the date that the deed or the mortgage is recorded.
Okay.
Now, to give some light and just some background on what title is, the seller, when they convey title to the property, it needs to be free and clear of all liens and title and defects. When the deed is not recorded, the seller is still the owner of the property. So what this gap coverage does is in instances where we cannot actually electronically record or record in person, the seller's proceeds can be released and the buyer can enter the property and have access to the property, and the lender and buyer are protected during that gap period from any title defects that may arise. So from the date of the closing until the deed is recorded, it protects the lender and the buyer from any title defects that may come up. So it's really important and really beneficial to be able to proceed until the registries, for example, today, we don't know when these technical difficulties are going to be fixed. So it's something that allows both parties to proceed, but also protects the buyer and the lender, and allows the seller to obtain their funds.
Now, is there a cost for gap coverage, and does a document need to be signed to get gap coverage if needed?
So there is no cost on the buyer or seller for this gap coverage.
That's good.
Our underwriting title, our title insurance companies that my firm underwrites with, insure these policies, and there is a document in which the seller signs and also the buyer signs, depending on the rules that every lender has. Every lender is different. Every lender has certain requirements, and every title insurance company has certain requirements. But yes, there is something that is signed, and if both parties agree, then we proceed with the gap coverage.
And thank you. This is really great information. My last question is, now I know it's unknown territory in terms of how long that gap coverage will be needed, because exactly like you said, we don't know when these technical difficulties are going to, stop being technical difficulties. What are you seeing on average? Is it like a couple of days? Is it a couple of weeks? Like, how long, is there a limit in gap coverage?
So on average, it's been a couple of days. It could be, again, there was a situation that I had where it was a registered land property. Middlesex South was closed that day completely. We got on record 2 days later because we had to overnight everything. And every registry has different rules. For example, Middlesex South will only accept USPS overnight mailing, no FedEx, no UPS. So it can be a couple days, it can be up to a week. I haven't seen it go further than that, at least, when this all began in mid-March, around March 5th, 16th, around there is when we started enforcing this, when the governor actually enforced the first order, the stay-at-home order. Sorry, it was before the governor enforced the stay-at-home order that we started this, because the registries started to close even before the stay-at-home order was enforced. But since then, it can range from a couple of days, it can range, up to a week. But I haven't seen anything past that, at least, in my experience. However, it does protect from the date of signing until the date of recording. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was very enlightening, and I'm sure very helpful information for many of you out there. Anastasia and I were talking earlier about wanting to do a Q&A on Zoom for anybody who would like to join and ask questions about real estate from a buyer's agent, me, perspective, or from a real estate attorney, Anastasia's perspective. We'd love to have a conversation with you, answer any questions you might have. But wishing everyone a great rest of the day, and stay safe and healthy. And thank you again, Anastasia, for being here. We really appreciate your time and knowledge and expertise. So
Thank you, Heather. It's always nice catching up with you, and thank you for having me. We look forward to our Zoom Q&A where, like Heather said, she'll cover the realtor side, and I'll go through my role in the process from once your offer is accepted and we get to the purchase and sale agreement, all the way through to the closing table. So I look forward to it.
Me too.
Thanks, Heather.
Talk to you soon.